rewards. You don't have to stake. What is going to happen when we start getting ad revenue on Chungus Finance is there will be further auto staking, which is just by holding your Chungus coin, you are essentially a partial owner, proportional to how much you own in the company, right? So any revenue that comes in, none of it is going to a development fund. None of it is coming to me except for whatever Chungus I've personally bought. So there's no revenue. Again, we're not getting compensated in any way. It's being run 100% like a company. So whoever owns Chungus coin, you get a split on that revenue. There will be staking, which is staking for liquidity. So that can help increase stability, help raise the price floor. And in order to incentivize that, we will be offering a higher share. So the math will be worked out, but essentially, if I have 1 million Chungus coin, I could just hold them in my wallet and I get a share, I get a cut of that revenue, or I could combine them with the equivalent BNB value, provide liquidity, and I'll get a slightly higher return on that, which has to work that way because you're also putting in BNB, and then you're also susceptible to impermanent loss. So if Chungus were to, go up to the moon and really explode, people would buy the Chungus out of the liquidity pool, and you would lose some of that Chungus. So you might, only go up 50% as high. So that would be the type of staking. Will us on the team be doing it? Probably, yeah. Personally, yeah, I would probably. Typically, what people do is they don't stake their entire holding because of the impermanent loss, right? Like I think if the price were to double, then you might lose out on 25% of that. But if the price decreases, you also don't decrease as hard because you're basically an owner of half of. Well, yeah, it's complicated. I won't get into that much more. But typically, what people do is they want to benefit from the increased revenue, which means like when you stake, the more volume that happens without moving the price, the better off you are. And then if you don't stake and you just hold your Chungus, it gets bigger anyway, but it also increases, you make more with the price increases. So yes. Yeah.
Polygon, do you mind if I chime in one quick summation and thought I have on this?
Yes, sure. Maybe you can do a better job.
Not at all, sir. You're a fearless leader. But so here's the thing, guys. I do have partnerships with people who were willing to, do staking pools for us. The reality is mathematically, because of our tokenomics, when we looked at it, we're like, all right, we got to be able to find a better solution. And the short and honest answer is that the time it would take a typical stake at a typical staking APY in a pool to make up for 19% right off the top is underwhelming compared to what we can do through Chungus Finance and you just loosely holding your token with no transaction fees, no tax, etc. I guess the bottom line is your funds will serve you better with this method we are devising than it will in a conventional stake. As Polygon said, we bought this token same as you guys. Bought it on the way up, some higher than I'd like. Buying it on the dip, man, because we are going to absolutely accelerate. Just might take us a little bit to really pick up the momentum, but we are working on some major utility features. And this opportunity through Chungus Finance is honestly going to reward holders with more, more dollars per bang for buck than a conventional staking method would.
And really, if any other token or any other project, when you stake, the vast majority of them, they have fees too. So you always have to calculate that, right? If you stake on one that's, let's say 5% or PooCoin, right? Like it's 8%, so it's 16% round trip. If you stake and then you slowly earn on the volume or on whatever, and then 2 weeks have gone by, and maybe you just got back to earning back what you lost from staking for the fee. Right. So when you stake, you have to calculate and say, I want to hold for at least 3 months to make it worth it. So right, it would be possible, but in our case, then maybe it means like instead of 1 month, at least you need to stake to be worth it. You might have to stake for a month and a half or 2 months. And it's just much easier to say, no, you own Chungus, you're a partial owner of the revenue stream, and we're going to pay everyone out. And when people are just getting straight BNB without having to stake and unstake and calculate the fee and everything, we think that's a very attractive model, and it'll sell itself.
Yeah, and I think one pretty remarkable thing about this is that we're going to be finding ways to generate revenue, and a portion of that will pay back to you guys, which is pretty crazy. So if you look at the tokenomics, you already have reflectionary rewards, which basically is soft staking. You don't have to get into any kind of agreement or anything permanent. You just get more Chungus for holding your Chungus. And we're building a system and essentially a company through Chungus Finance that is going to have more revenue, which will mean you'll get even more in the soft staking rewards. So everybody who's holding and buying is going to be treated very well down the line, because we're all working in this together.
And one other quick thing too, does this mean, because we're going after the finance angle, does this mean that we're saying, oh, okay, we're no longer a meme token, we're no longer going for mass popularity and mass marketing? No, absolutely not. What we're doing right now is we're recognizing that the market's down a little bit. We're delaying on some of the big marketing pushes that we're interested in. And what this gives us is it basically just gives us a price floor. So if you compare to some other projects, like if you looked at, I'll talk about, Bog Finance, they have some great tooling, they have a great market cap, but is Bog really as good of a meme, or do they have as good of a website or as good of a community, as we do? I don't think so. I think that the mainstream doesn't really care about Bogdanovich or Sminim, right? That's kind of like, crypto 4chan type things that can only go so far. But everyone knows Chungus, right? So if we're working on adding new features with Bog Finance, we're also going to be doing that with more increased marketing pushes, resuming some of the marketing pushes and partnerships we already talked about. And if those really catch on and we explode, we don't care. We're still going to work on the Chungus Finance because we're excited about those features and we think that they make the experience in the BSC ecosystem better. But that doesn't mean that we're not doing all the same things we have been doing with promoting, trying to get someone famous on board, trying to get mainstream recognition.
I got a question.
Sure.
So just like in layman's terms, to try to maybe help understand what you're saying, instead of staking Chungus coin just by holding it, once Chungus Finance is out, on top of our reflections we get for just holding Chungus, we will get a slice of the ad revenue from Chungus Finance, and it will come in the form of BNB.
Yes.
You got it, man. How sweet is that?
Sounds great.
And I also, we talked about, so the split would be between marketing, between the holders, and between liquidity providers. Now, how we adjust those is kind of up for debate. But in the end, the ultimate goal is, if we're widespread and we don't need to push marketing as hard, or if we feel that we don't need additional marketing funds, then it will go closer to 100% going to holders and liquidity providers. Because the marketing is only as we need it, right? It's like a growth model in a company. You pay more in the beginning for R&D or whatever, things that are going to pay off in dividends later, or for marketing, right, with certain companies. So our goal is just basically to get to the point where we're all making a bunch of money from holding Chungus, and we all have the upside when Chungus catches on mainstream, or maybe it already has caught on mainstream, and then you have to make the hard decision: do I sell at a really high price point, or do I want to keep holding for the the revenue? But that would be a champagne problem at that point. So yeah, that's our model. And we were looking at competitors and looking at what we could potentially earn. And I think we're all pretty excited at the potential, because it's not a super crowded space right now on BSC. There's definitely gaps in what we can offer.
And then will there be what you were saying? There will be people who can provide liquidity by they would have to stake BNB, like basically wrapped with Big Chungus to provide liquidity, and then that would be you would get extra reward from that too if you chose to do that.
Right. So right now anyone could go and add liquidity to the Big Chungus BNB liquidity pool on PancakeSwap, and if you do that now, you just get a piece of the fees that PancakeSwap collects. But yeah, essentially what we would do is we would say you put in 1 million Chungus coin. Now, if you had kept that out of liquidity, let's say that you would get whatever amount daily. I think someone accidentally ended it. Yeah, let's see. Do we have?
I'm missing 3 people who are here.
Okay, I'll keep going, jumping back in. So if you say, okay, I put 1 million Chungus coin. If you kept those 1 million Chungus coin in your wallet, we look at what you would have earned then in terms of your revenue share, and you'll make slightly more because you not only put that value in and you tied it up. Basically, the concept of staking, but you had to also add in BNB because you're a market maker, and you have to tie that up as well and expose yourself to impermanent loss. So we basically figure out what is the additional premium we need to pay in order to increase the liquidity to a point that we want, but not too much that everyone says, well, I'm going to add liquidity and then no one's holding. So there has to be a balance, and we'll have control over those rates, and we can modify them as we go, but we'll also be doing some extensive modeling beforehand to figure out where the sweet spot is.
Just a real quick follow-up on providing liquidity. I know a lot of people are new to the microcap space. Offering liquidity can be profitable, but you do want to read up on it because Polygon touched on it. You're going to be better off Googling it, but impermanent loss, it has to do with the movement of the assets you're buying together relative to each other, and a penalty is such. But one of the normal benefits is that you're getting the PancakeSwap fees. They're paying you for having the liquidity locked. And when we move forward with the Chungus Finance, you're also going to get an additional cut on the ad revenue. So it's almost going to work in tandem. And not going to say, not financial advice. You definitely need to research impermanent loss. You absolutely need to. It's very important. But what we're going to do is basically be able to offer the best deal to liquidity providers because they'll be getting some earnings both on the PancakeSwap side in fees and also from Chungus Finance side from ad revenue.
Cool. Just wanted to clear that up. Maybe anybody was confused.
Definitely, it's a lot of information without visualizing it. So we'll try to maybe put some. I think probably we'll update the white paper somewhere on the site with more information that can be digested a little bit easier.
Sounds good.
Who's next? Step right up.
Hello, guys. How is everyone doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm good, thanks.
Thank you.
So I have a question. I think I've asked this question before, but I didn't get a satisfying response. So my question is, because we are a meme coin and people like memes, and a lot of those people are outside of the crypto space. So do you have any plans of advertising and bringing those people outside of the crypto space?
Yes, I can talk about, I guess one thing, and then I don't know if Doge wants to talk more. We did create, so we didn't run it yet, but we did create an account on basically adult websites, banner ads, and we will be running with that. We haven't started yet, though.
Oh, okay, thanks.
But besides from that, I don't know if you guys know, we've been doing some Reddit outreach. There's actually a sub called Big Chungus Religion. And of anybody who, again, maybe people that aren't into crypto